Okay, everything looks good so far. Testing 1, 2, 3. Everything working?
Hey, welcome to the Twin Cities Division.
Welcome to the Twin Cities Division.
Welcome to the Twin Cities Division.
Welcome to the Twin Cities Division. I like mine better.
From the historic White Center Depot, welcome to the Twin Cities Division.
Welcome to the Twin Cities Division.
Well, hello, Ken.
Hello, Thomas. How are you tonight?
I'm good. I'm good. We have a good show tonight with a good interviewee.
We do. And it's going to be a great night. Of course, like you, I'm busy tonight getting ready for the Modeler Skill Day we're going to put on tomorrow. So I'm having a lot of fun with that. But looking forward to talking to our guest. Just think it was almost 2 years ago. Most of us didn't understand N scale, and now we're we're all hip deep in N scale here in the Twin City division, for the
I think
better,
they,
of course.
they've taken over the division. I think.
I think so. I think so.
Yeah, because come the next show we present will be another N scaler. So
Oh my.
I think we have to HO and S scale. We got to step up our game. So
Yeah. Well, I've been trying to step up my game for a lot of years.
is that what Maryland says? So welcome everybody. I see now Rail Artist. I see he used to be a former TCD member. Mike used to be the editor of the Thousand Lakes region. Randy's here, one of our board members. 3 Dubs. We got a good crew here. We got almost 20 some people. So
yep.
I can let's check out our events coming up. We can talk about that. I'll let you talk about it. My voice is kind of going.
All right. Well, we can start with tomorrow. The Granite City Train Show is going on, but we also have our Modeler Skills Day, but we'll come back to that. Next weekend is the Greater Lake Upper Midwest Train Show and Sale. Most of people know that as a Century College sale because it's easier to say. December 2nd is the North Metro Model Railroad Club sale. And then we get into Saturday the 3rd for another Century College sale. So if I believe what this is you have 2 sales before Christmas to get yourself that Christmas present you want. And if you didn't buy yourself what you wanted, you get another chance in February to go back out and buy it. So that's my theory.
All righty, let's see what else we got here for our slides. And next, here we go. January now.
January, more sales. Holy scamoles. La Crosse has got a sale, and that's going to be kind of exciting. I haven't been down to La Crosse for a sale for a long time, but I understand it's a great one. On the 13th, the Newport Club is having a sale, and we know that that's always an excellent sale. And typically they open up their club after the sale so that you can visit it. And that club is really worth visiting. It's a beautiful layout, doing a lot of neat things there. But as you say, please contact the TCD and tell us what events we should put on there for you. Because around here, it's all about, making more fun for everybody to go to. And that means telling everybody about your events. Madison Train Show is a big one coming up, and that's one that I think it's far enough away, and yet it's not far enough away. But it's really an excellent show. What is it, about 4 hours from my house, I think. So you can make it there in one day and back. It's a long day, but I mean, you're going down there to have fun. So what the heck?
Yeah, so, I think that's a good carpool effort. If anybody wants to go, contact us, and we'll organize some rides.
Absolutely, and that'll make it a lot more fun too.
Yeah, it is Wisconsin, so we can stop for beer and cheese curds about every 3 miles.
That's right. The good thing is, if you want to carpool down there, get a hold of Tom and I early, because the last couple people that sign up are going to have to carpool with Dan Doza. So
yeah, you don't want that.
No way.
And endless stories of imitation crab and things like that.
That's right. Well, and he's also that psychiatrist, so he'll tell you stories from his practice, and that gets pretty weird.
Yeah. All right, so tomorrow, tell us about tomorrow here. This is going to be great.
Tomorrow is really going to be great because we've got a lot of good people working on making fun for everybody. We've got a couple guys that are going to do weathering freight cars. Our dynamic Polish duo, Paul Bukowski and Ken Brokowski, are going to be weathering freight cars. And what's really neat about that is you can bring your own freight cars there, as long as they're dull coated and it's nice and dry, and you can weather with these masters. They'll have all the supplies you need. You can certainly bring supplies if you want to try something out or show somebody a different technique. We always love to see that. And then Joe Binish is going to be doing water slide decals. And again, if you have a car and or whatever that's got decals you want to put on, bring them along and let Joe help you, because Joe is really, really excellent on that. He'll have all the techniques. He'll tell you all of his secrets, and we know that he's a tremendous modeler. And then I'm going to do something on static grass and making trees. So I've been making lots of little squares of that we can do static grass on. I've got lots of super trees and all the supplies we need, so that when you leave, you can have created your own little scene and have confidence that that you can do that on your layout. Again, if you if you have something you want to try, like maybe you made yourself one of those bug zappers that you plug into a portable welding machine and you want to try it out, okay, we'll be there to call 911. But please bring what you'd like to bring. Please consider bringing a scissors and knife to cut out decals. Your favorite decal setting solution, we will have some there, but we'd love to see what you like. Brushes and small sponges for weathering, protective gloves, so that you can play with paint and glue. We'll have lots and lots of styrofoam bases, so don't worry about that. But bring along a box to bring your supplies home, whatever you've created, and bring a good attitude. We will have bandages there on site, and we have access to paramedics. So, yeah.
And I don't know if we said this, but you can do all three. All three are going to be
Absolutely.
going on
Yes.
all day, right?
Yep. Absolutely. So you can go from one to another. You can go back and forth. The whole idea is that you can come do some hands-on work and then connect with other people, so that if you want to have a little, say, static grass making party in your basement, get 2 or 3 guys to show up and just have a good time having staticky grass flying all over the basement. So
yeah, you can zap each other. I think
Yeah,
the weathering, if you have a technique or you did a car,
Yes.
bring that with. We're open to other people showing us some, how they do it. I mean, I think weathering has the most ways to do anything in this hobby, other than scenery, maybe.
well, but that's the great part about it is you see lots of different techniques. You get lots of different ways to get inspired, and it's all about having fun, and that's what we're all up here for.
So yeah, show up tomorrow, South St. Paul. We got a nice venue.
1
Something
o'clock.
new. Yeah, 1 o'clock in the afternoon. We're trying something new. Hope to make it an annual event.
Yep.
And maybe we can do this at the Modelers Retreat. So
Absolutely. Then next Tuesday is our November meeting, and that's going to be at the Union 32 Craft House. We're going to start at 6:30 to 9:30. If you get there a few minutes early, don't worry about it, because there's lots of good food. Ken Borowski tells us they have 150 types of beer on tap. I don't recommend you try to taste all of them. Mike Engler is going to be there, and he's going to talk about the National Narrow Gauge Convention that's coming back to the Twin Cities in a couple of years. So it's going to be a very interesting clinic, and we're going to have a lot of fun. So please join us there.
maybe we can tag team the 150 beers. If everybody tries like 5 or 6, we can work our way through that. And
There you
this is
go.
also a new venue for us, so we're trying it out, and they're open to us coming there with a certain amount of money spent.
Yep.
And so come hungry, come thirsty, and come hang out with your friends and socialize, because that's the best part of the hobby. Have a meal with everything. So there's some more stuff coming up, Ken.
Right, January 11th and the 8th of February, we are going to do our membership meetings via Zoom, and we'll have special video presentations. We know a lot of people don't like to travel in the middle of the winter, so that's fine. We still want to have some fun and let people get together and chit chat. As Randy says, if you've got some ideas that you'd like to present, please get a hold of him, and we can do that. In February, we're having our operators retreat, and the newsletter that went out tells you how to about that, but we have more layouts than we could possibly put operators on. At least that's what I'm thinking. So
Yeah.
if you're interested, anywhere in the area, if you're in the Hiawatha division or it doesn't matter what division you're in, just come on out and we'll give you a great day of operating. March 16th is the annual Modelers Retreat, and that's going to be at the same church that it's been at the last 5 years, probably. Joe Binish has got a nice set of clinics, presentations lined up, but he's got a couple more slots. He's got a couple of us old retreads in as presenters, but I think that idea is that we can be bumped if he gets better ones. So please don't hesitate to get a hold of Joe. In April, we're going to do layout tours again on the Northeast Metro and the Southwest Metro. It'll be on 2 different weekends, so you can take advantage of all of them. May 16th to 20th is the Thousand Lakes Region Convention in Eau Claire. We visited with the convention committee last Sunday, and this is going to be it's going to be a lot of fun. There's live speeder car rides. There's one of those steam locomotives in the park that we can ride. Great clinics, great model celebration room, so you can celebrate model building and all these other things. The hotel is really nice, and it's $85 a night, which is pretty amazing. The hotel's got a nice restaurant in it that had good food, and it's Wisconsin, so it's got a bar. Figure that.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think it was wonderful. I think Ken and I went out there with Joe Binish and very impressed with the space we have, very impressed with the hotel. And Eau Claire is a beautiful city. I lived there for 17 years. There's so much to do there. And there's lots of prototype railroading. And in the area, the layout tours will be the least I can say is museum quality layouts. Cover of magazine layouts that we get to visit. I would plan on bring some models, bring your family, and come out and have some fun.
Sure. Yep.
And then nationally, anyone want to go out to California with me and my lovely bride?
Oh, I'm glad you said it that way.
Yes. We haven't had a vacation much, so we're going to go out there. Operators Retreat.
Operators Retreat. Again, we've got more. We can add all the layouts we need to take care of anybody that wants to be involved. So plan on it, sign up for it, and if we'll sign you up. You're going to have a great, fun day. You'll operate on a couple different layouts, and then make friends with layout owners, make friends with other operators, and make sure you let people know if you want to get on more extra boards to do operations. So
yes, all of those like us have layouts who are host operations need more operators.
Yep.
If you're an experienced operator, this is a great way to make contacts. If you're new to it, this is a great way to learn how fun and easy it is.
Yep.
It's not paperwork and rules. It's fun with your friends. Moving your trains with a purpose.
Yes.
And, before we go any further, like Randy Reelander's out there. Could you post how you want to be contacted? If anybody has a slide presentation or video they would like to show on Zoom, could you in chat post your email or something for everybody there? Yep. And there's the address for tomorrow. 155 Hardman Avenue, South St. Paul, right off Concord Street, 494 Concord, between Concord and the railroad. The Union Pacific spine line goes about 50 feet away. So you'll hear some locals and all the Roseport trains and all the main line freights. It'll be quite the thing. And then don't forget our friends at Scale. They're big supporters of the NMRA, TCD, and TLR. And I think that's that's what we got for events coming up. We will have holiday meeting info coming up this week. Hopefully. So,
Yep.
there's how you get a hold of Randy. So we should bring up our guest, and we're going to do a couple things. We'll chat with him a bit, and then we're going to play a video of his interview that he gave at the Modelers Retreat. And the Modelers Retreat was before he won Best in Show at the convention. So he was humble back then. Now, now he's a Best in Show winner. I'm surprised he talks to us, but Ken paid him off. I don't know, was it 20 bucks? 20 bucks is 20 bucks.
That's $20 is $20.
So everybody be kind. We'd like to welcome Mr. Collin Sullivan here. How are you, Collin?
Hey, I'm doing great. Thanks for having me. Am I no longer humble? Is that what you're implying?
Yeah, we're kind of saying that there.
Well, thank you. I'm honored to be here.
So tell us what you made here that we're going to be talking about here.
I assume you're talking about my Union Station, my
Right.
Metropolitan Union Station. That project, if you count the first time I tried to build it, took me about 5 years working on it. Probably the first 3 years we're working on the original build, and I got frustrated at one point, decided to start over with some better ideas, and the rebuild, in my opinion, turned out to be much better. Much happier the way that one turned out. I think one of your slides in your intro says something about starting over. You're not starting from scratch, you're starting from experience.
Yeah.
And I did a YouTube series about building that station, and it kind of ended with kind of I was rather disgusted with the whole project at the time, and then I started the new build. So there's two playlists, one with the old build and one with the new build. And if anyone's interested in that, it's on my YouTube channel. It's a playlist that has all the episodes. So,
All right. Well, let's play your interview here.
Okay.
And we'll listen to this, and
Okay.
people can get up your questions.
Okay.
Whoops. Wrong one. Technical difficulties.
Yes.
Loose nut at the keyboard.
Yeah. They all have the same name there. Okay, screen share and Metropolitan.
I used to be PC support, and we called that a TCKI error, chair to keyboard interface error.
Yeah, that's what it is. An idiot thing. Okay.
I brought my latest version of the my Union Station project. This is my second attempt. My first attempt, I didn't like how it turned out, so I started over. I implemented all kinds of different construction method changes, and turned out to be a lot better the second time around. So the building is pretty much done, and I'm working on surrounding structures such as roads and that kind of thing, fill in the gaps there. End scale. This is my own design. It's not based on any prototype. I kind of hope this will be the centerpiece to my upper deck when I get started on that. My layout at home so far is just got the lower deck, and this is going to be on the upper deck. Yeah, so lighting in there are all LEDs. All the roof panels are removable, so you can kind of see the wiring is kind of rudimentary in there. But all the roof panels are removable, and that way I can get inside if I want to do any detailing or have to fix any lights. I wanted to design something to fit the space I have. This is where it will be on the layout. You can see it there. where I will be on the upper deck of my layout. Yeah, it'll be a kind of a large locomotive service facility there. Also wanted to convey just some degree of plausibility. A lot of times I'll see a big station just kind of plopped on a platform that's plopped over the top of tracks, and you don't really know how the station connects to the tracks. But this way I designed something where you can kind of see how you get from one place to the other, and see how you get from the station down to the tracks. There's stairs and elevators in there. So again, I'm just looking for a plausibility. I'm not a structural engineer or anything, so I don't know if my plan is really sound, but trying to do the 50s and 60s. Passenger streamliner era. You can see I've got some little sample railings here. Those little railings will continue all around the edges here. I'm going to make some little traffic lights for the intersections here, so those will be animated. Yeah, what you don't see here is the tracks in front of the station. There's going to be a few tracks in front of the station that start a big rail yard. Will start here, so there'll be some tracks in front of the station there. My main line runs right underneath the platform. Yeah, I try to, I guess. I'll have a coach yard, so I'm going to try to build some support buildings back through here. A little kind of light diesel servicing area here. So I don't know a whole lot about what I'm doing. I'm just making it up as I go. So
sometimes that's best.
Yeah, this was my plan that I drew to start the second attempt. I tried to do a much more detailed plan than my first try. Try to account for all the building materials. It's all scratch built. It's made from sheet styrene and strip styrene. Basically kind of laminated together to make the different layers. There's 2 layers for all the windows. You see how there's kind of an inset. One kind of inset, the windows are kind of inset. And I put together all the walls first, and then I came back with all the detail. That made a big difference in how it went together. I was able to make nice clean butt joints with all the corners. That was a mistake I made on the first try, was to try to build up the detail first and then glue it all together. And that didn't work very well. I also put a base underneath the main floor here, and that helped to get the angle right, plus make it all flat from one end to the other. There are actually a few little screws, about 4 small screws, that kind of bolt this down to the platform, and that way all the columns are flat to the ground. They're not floating on the bottom. That was another problem I had with the first try. Those are just tubes. They're evergreen tubes. I forget the diameter, something like 9/32 or something. And I just cut them to length. They actually had to sort of individually fit them in there because there was still a little bit of variation, as careful as I tried to be. So I actually had to kind of custom fit each one to make sure they fit just right. The painting or the coloring is all pan pastel, just a little bit of water and pan pastel. I've sort of dubbed the technique heavy weathering.
Heavy weathering.
Yeah, it's not really painting or coloring. It's more like heavy weathering. Yep, these are all individual little sawtooth, whatever you're gonna call it. That's all individual pieces glued on. I had a little chopper, a little Midwest chopper I used to cut all the little pieces, and they go all around, go all the way around, completely around the roof line. The windows are just, the glass is a transparency sheet that you'd use for the old overhead projectors. was able to get some of that. It's thinner than, say, acetate. It's a lot cheaper. The window dividers here are just a black fiberglass window screen. So that works out well for that. All the individual pieces in here are, again, small strips, styrene strips that were all individually put in each window. Clock tower, you can see there's individual strips up there. And I managed to, I don't know if you can see it, I managed to find a little weather vane to put on the very top of the clock tower. Little brass piece. Nice little detail. I added rooftop details here. These are just bolster pins from, N-scale trucks, a little bolster pin that you use to fasten the truck to the fasten. These are rooftop details from Walters, the little rooftop details that I put on there. Yes, it's my own design. I'm not an architect or an engineer, so I tried to come up with something that just looks plausible. And these light poles will be duplicated all along the edges of the bridge. Back here, there will be building flats here at the back. This will be the back of the layout. And so there'll be building flats here to kind of try to make a urban setting.
So as everybody can see, we're not above self-promotion, are we?
No. Well, somebody has to say something good about us. So.
Yep.
So we have lots of questions here.
One of the questions I saw was how many plans did I make? Not sure about how many plans. My original plans weren't very good, which was part of my problem. And then I came up with more detailed plans. I drew plans for pretty much every wall on the station, elevations, which is architectural term for drawing the outside of the building. So each one of those was drawn so that I could use those for, building the model. But good planning turned out to be one of my first mistakes, as I didn't have a very good plan to begin with. I just kind of had an idea, and my idea wasn't very well thought out. So second time around, I learned from a lot of mistakes.
So we want to hear about your window trick here.
My window trick. Well, there's not much to it. I used a black fiberglass window screen for most of the rectangular windows in the model. The glazing or glass is just plain old transparency sheets that you can, I don't know if anybody uses overhead projectors anymore, but that's basically what they were for. And you can buy those off Amazon, get a pack. They're pretty cheap. They're a lot cheaper than, say, acetate, and easier to work with. Otherwise, all the little door frames and mullions were all little tiny strips of styrene, 0.02 and 0.04, I think, real small little strips. So those were individually placed in there. When I built this model, I didn't have any fancy tools. I didn't have a 3D printer like I do now, and a 3D printer would have been real handy for just printing out all those little door frames, but I didn't have that. So, just because you don't have real fancy tools doesn't mean you can't come up with a good project. Yeah, there's one of my initial drawings. I'm just kind of trying to figure out the trains running underneath the station. Those big X's underneath represent the space needed for the trains to go through And just elevation from the side here, just to kind of get a feel for how big the thing's going to be and how high do I make those platforms. And the stairwells, you can see those on the right coming down. So this is one of the drawings I did, one of many.
What did you draw it on?
I've got a drafting program called TurboCAD Deluxe 2022, I think it is, and it's a very nice drafting program. I used to be an architectural drafter, so I kind of had a little experience with that. So all the drawings are made with the drafting program. Now, when I printed them out, I used those plans to work right on top of the plans to get all the windows in place. So the whole project was a lot of repetition. So somebody might look at the model and think, "Oh my gosh, that looks like a lot of work." Well, it was, but it's a lot of repetition. There's not you look at all the windows and it's like I say, it's just making a lot of windows. So and this is really the first time I've tried anything of this scale, this big. Well, actually, the second time. The first time kind of flopped, but I learned a lot. And you can apply the same skills to a little model or a big model. Like I say, once you learn to do a few little things, it's just repetition from there. And
why did the first one flop?
Well, I didn't go about it very well. As long as I worked on the thing, I kept having second thoughts, thinking, well, gee, I should have done this, or this isn't working well. I've got a better idea. Maybe that could have turned out better. And I just got to a point where there were so many flaws in the thing that I was unhappy with it. I don't expect perfection, but if I can do a better job, I will. And that's what I did. I kind of reached a point of disappointment and frustration in the thing, and all these better ideas were floating around in my head, and I thought I just want to start over and employ all those different ideas I had to make a better project. And it was worth it to just kind of scrap the first one and start with the beginning of the next one. And the rebuild went pretty quick because I had all the answers in my head and laid it out pretty fast, and the walls came together fast, and all the details came on pretty quick too. So it was easier to do the rebuild after having, floundered around a little bit with the original. I want this to be a nice centerpiece for part of the layout, and I didn't want to settle for something that was, okay, well, I kind of fudged that, and so I was just disappointed with the first try, and the second try turned out to be much better.
Were you disappointed with the plan or the execution of you getting everything even?
The execution of the plan. Okay. I didn't really change much in the design from the first to the second build, but the construction methods were very different.
What changed?
Well, to start with, I put the model on a base. The old model that I've got here, I don't know if I can show it to you, but I've got the old model here. And this is as far as the old model got. You can see I've got kind of, it didn't get very far. This was the old one. And I built it without any floor. There's no floor base in there. And I was thinking if I could just kind of build the whole thing on a flat surface, I'd be okay. But it turned out to be a big problem. One of the big things I did with the rebuild was to make a floor, make a just basic floor, and I glued the walls to that floor base so that when I came time to try to put together the two big angled pieces, that was another big mistake. I tried to build this first and then build that and try to stick them together, and it just didn't work. You can see all kinds of stuff in here. I've tried to bring these together, and the angle was wrong. The whole thing is a little wobbly. And it just, that's where I got to the point of just, So when I rebuilt it, I built that long main terminal first on one floor. I think I might have another picture there that's got a longer elevation of the whole front there. But anyway, that solved a lot of problems. It got the angle right. Everything was flat on the, you can see that kind of long main terminal without the 3 concourses. Instead of trying to build that in 2 pieces, I built it all in 1 piece and then attached the concourses. The concourses themselves were all built up, including the stairwells and the elevator shafts. That was another change. Rather than trying to just build the concourse and then somehow stick the individual structures together, I built all of that, was all integrated into one big structure. And so those stairwells, you can see the walls here that I was building for the stairwells. Those all came together very nicely, and without putting all this detail on the front there. And you can see again here all this stuff on the front. That was what was causing a lot of problems trying to get the corners right. And so when I did the rebuild, I left all that off and I just built nice flat square walls. Everything came together with a nice square butt joint everywhere. So all the walls lined up nicely and all fit together well. And then I came back and put in all the trim and the details. You can see in the drawing, in this drawing or photo here, there's not much detail on it right now. On the walls, there's some, but not much. And that's where I put together all the walls first and then come back with the detail. The other big change from the original model here, you can see I've got these little gables built into the wall. That was another change. I took that off, and so the rebuild, the whole roof was all flat. There's no little gables, and I didn't try to just squash the roof panels on. The roof panels were all made separately to fit like a cover over the whole thing. You look on the photo here, you can see the roof line is all flat all the way around. There's aren't any little gables where the roof line would be. So that was another change that made things a lot easier to put together and help with some of the light leaks that I was having with the previous build. So there's a lot of changes I made. Not to the design so much, but to the method of construction. That's where a lot of the changes were made. And it turned out to be much better. Will you continue to build by hand a 3D printer? Well, I don't know. I've got a 3D printer. I don't think I'll do a 3D version of this one, though. But I do have some backdrop buildings that I've already designed and printed in 3D printing. So those will be used for backdrop buildings once I get this whole scene complete. This picture shows kind of a back view of the station. If you look between the concourses there, you can see the arches right in front of the clock tower, but there are no details on there. So that kind of shows the stages I went through with trying to build the walls first, then add all the trim and the extra pretty little details to it. So
did you do a lot of scoring and snapping, or did you cut out the holes what did you do?
All of the let me back up. I used a lot of strips, styrene strips, in building the walls. I tried to design it in such a way so that the spaces between the windows were fairly close to, pre-manufactured styrene strips. And most of the time I came close, but so it was kind of a combination of using the styrene strips plus sheet styrene that I would cut for larger areas. The pieces above the window, there's a lot of wall above the windows there. You can see those are all, cut from sheets of styrene. The stairwells here that you can see, that's all big sheets of styrene that are cut and pasted together to, make the window openings and so forth. Kind of the standard way of, you see a lot of people, they'll score and snap sheets of styrene and cut out little squares for their windows. I used a lot of that technique too on the end walls.
What do you use for adhesives with styrene?
I'm sorry, what do I use for what?
Adhesives? What's your preferred method?
Oh, just plain old plastic. Yeah, liquid cement. Just a tester with a little bottle of clear liquid cement. I use more often. I'd use a ruling pen. I don't know if you know what that is. A ruling pen has got two little nibs to it. It's meant to be drawing for ink. So you dip it in a little well of ink for drawing, but it also makes a great little applicator for liquid cement.
Oh.
So look that up. It's a ruling pen is what it's called. You can still buy them off Amazon.
You'll have to show us sometime. Yeah.
Yeah. They're easy to find.
Yep. Colin, I have a question. This view we're looking at right now, that's the back of the station.
Yep.
Are you going to be able to see that when it's on your layout?
Well, not very well. And that might be kind of that's going to be pretty much toward the back of it. And I don't know if you got a picture of it with the road behind it, but that is kind of the back of the station. So that's the one thing I'm not sure how to address, because when it gets up onto the layout, this thing is going to be about 46 inches or so high. That's what the level of my upper deck is going to be. So it's going to be a little difficult to see trains and things back there. So maybe that's kind of a downside to this, just because I didn't have a lot of space for it. Maybe if there was more space, I could, do something that would, enhance the view back there. But you're right, though. It is going to be a little bit limited view back there once the thing gets loaded up onto the layout.
Big mirror.
Yeah. So I'm not quite sure how it's going to be, how it's all going to look once it's really put into place. But
well, you'll know it's there. So.
Yes.
So what did you use to paint it with? Because the model,
painting the coloring. Yeah, the coloring. I'm not sure what you call it. It's kind of a technique I consider to be heavy weathering, and it's all pastel or pan pastels, and a little bit of water and a little bit of pan pastels. I used a big 3-inch paintbrush to start with to just kind of, big sweepy strokes to make sure the whole thing was kind of even. And I had to come back with a smaller brush to get into a lot of the little nooks and crannies and so forth. But to start with, used a big, just a big old paintbrush that you'd use for painting the side of the house to, and kind of real damp, not wet, but damp, and painted it in vertical strokes so that I can make sure things were fairly even throughout the model. It got a little dark this time. The first one, I don't know if you can see any color on it, but the first one is a little bit lighter. It's not quite as dark as the second one.
Yeah,
so,
that one looks more marble type.
Yeah, so the second one got a little dark, and I that was the thing. I wish I'd gotten a little closer to this color, but it still turned out okay, I think. So before I did that, though, I painted the whole thing with flat white paint so that the pan pastels would have a little tooth to grab onto.
Okay. You washed it and then flat white. Yeah, that's true. You want to put a dull coat on there.
Yeah. And I think I didn't do that on the first one, which maybe that's why it turned out a little darker, because it had a little more grab to it. So.
Yeah. So you got your first merit award for structures.
Yes. How about that?
Pretty good. And then you got brought home a lot of plaques here.
I was very surprised at all that. I was quite overwhelmed. What in the world? I even got the award that I'd never even heard of, and I thought, what in the world? That Jacques Oliphant award.
Yeah.
I thought, well, I'd never even heard of that one, and goodness sakes, I wasn't expecting that at all. So I was quite surprised.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of darn good model building out there, and boy, oh boy, some of the models that were at that show were really spectacular.
Yours was wonderful. We appreciate you sharing that with us. And,
well, thanks for inviting me. I probably wouldn't have come if, and I'm just surprised how much notoriety things have gotten. My little layout. I just started a YouTube channel and a Facebook page, and I never went into this for the idea of making awards or competing or anything like that. I just set out and say, oh, here's what I'm doing, and people liked it and said, well, hey, come to the show. And I thought, okay, I'll come to the show. So If not for the invitations, I'd probably still be sitting by myself up in the train room.
Well, I think that's the best way to do this is what I call organically. You know, you're doing it anyway.
Yeah.
So you might as well see if you can get a merit award or enter this or take it and show it off. And I'm glad you accepted our invite. We invite everybody.
Yeah. Well, thanks
Ken,
for inviting
Ken
me.
started the last couple of years just making a wonderful big tent for everybody. So
I see Randy's asking about just plain old rattle can. Yep, it was Rust-Oleum, I think, just a big old rattly paint can, and
Well, Dan even put a link here if anybody wants a drawing street pen adjustable art ruling. That's a long name there.
Yeah. It's a simple little tool. It's like a little thing about a pencil, and it's got two little nibs on it, and they hold the fluid, whatever you're using. It's designed for ink, but it works great for liquid cement.
Now, the behind the scenes things, we visited you for the Golden Spike. You're in our Golden Spike video. That your lovely bride was happy that this was getting off your kitchen table.
Yeah. Well, it's still there, I guess.
Oh, no.
She's even lovelier for putting up for that. So
yeah.
So it's on the kitchen table. It's been there since the convention in May, and I've been making the promise for the last 5 years to get started on the upper deck up my layout, so I could finally, put that thing to bed. And
so what's coming up next? You said you're working on some things.
Oh,
you want to show us?
Well, being that I don't really have anything to offer for the next convention, I'm hoping maybe for the modelers retreat or something. I'm working on an idea that I've got. This came out of the I need to try to get the glare off of that. This was in the January 1995 Model Railroader magazine. So if you got one of these articles or one of those magazines sitting around, you can dig that up and see what I'm working on. I thought it'd make kind of a neat little station. Here's some drawings. These drawings in the article are already to N scale, so I'm just working off these drawings. And it's made from cast plaster. I'm just making little plaster castings here. You can see they're not very thick, and using a file to cut the openings. And then I'm adding the little door frames, and this one is already, I can hold that in the right spot. It's already got some little door frames in there and window frames. The door frames I made on my 3D printer. They're just little tiny door frames that I made, and I filed the openings to the point where the little door frame fits in there. The roof I made with a 3D printer and got some little shingles on there. I don't know if you can see that very well. The little railing, brass railing on the top was, I don't know if you've heard of a company called Scale Link Fret Cetera, F-R-E-T Fret Cetera, and they make these nice little brass, etched brass things for railings and all kinds of things. So you can look those up. They're called Scale Link Fret Cetera, and that's where I got the little brass. I got the little brass railing for the upper deck. It doesn't quite match the one in the prototype, but it's close enough, I guess. So that's how I'm doing these little things here, and it's kind of a fun little project. So I'm hoping to bring something to the next modelers meet, kind of scaling it down a little bit for my last project. So, so I won't take up so much space next time.
But yeah, no, you're just showing that's total craftsmanship, casting the plaster, carving out the windows and the stones, 3D printing this. That's quite impressive.
My 3D printer,
quite humble for all of that.
Yeah. My 3D printer doesn't quite print that kind of detail, and or at least I haven't figured out how to make it do that kind of detail in a good way. So I don't have good results. But
yeah,
I can cast the plaster, and you just do the little filing to get the windows right, and it goes together pretty well.
Now, you post a lot on our Facebook group? Were you the one who posted the F units recently?
I might have. I posted recently a little. I think there were microtrain F units. I do have some other F units on my station, my layout. Intermountain F units, F7s, I think they are. I can't tell the difference between F3s and F7s, but anyway. F7s, I've painted a few. I thought maybe I'll bring those to the next modelers meet, just things that I've painted. I noticed the Twin Cities Rail group did an honor for me by using one of my photos as their cover photo on their page. And well, it was kind of nice that they did that. So thank you for that. And I'm dumbfounded that people are, hey, they want to look at my work. Oh, really? So, so I'm still trying to catch up to all this in some ways. So I'd like to get out and see some other people's out. Yours for one, Tom. I'd like to see yours.
Yep, we'll get you there. Ken, anything else you got to add? Or
I'm just not really sure what I'm anything else to add for tonight. Just that I'm putzing around trying to get a few of things done. I'm trying to get back to my layout there. I've kind of been in a fallen off the radar for a while. I haven't done any videos on my YouTube channel, and I haven't worked on my layout for a while, and so I'm trying to get myself back on track and get working again. So I'm not sure what I need to get off my duff and get back up to work. So
yeah, I see you're coming to the event tomorrow, and you know, to me that's always a good way to do it is hang out with the others and get inspired by what other people are doing, and it kind of challenges yourself to get things. And there again, that's another good way to make contacts and find other layouts you can go visit, because there's a lot of good layouts in the division to go see.
Yeah, I enjoy all the friends I've made there, and it's a fun group. I enjoy coming to the meetings and just hanging out with everybody.
Great. Yep. Join for the trains, stay for the friends.
Yep. Well, thank you so very much for having me tonight. I'm honored to be a guest.
Yeah, thanks for
were there any
showing up and telling us.
Were there
I
any
would love to
questions
see
you
the
didn't answer?
pile of styrene you have for the chopper there. I would just So I think we'll wrap her up with that. So thank you, Collin.
All righty.
We'll see you tomorrow. And Ken, I think the only big message we have is next Friday there will not be a show.
That's right. Both of us are on the road.
Yeah, we're both being moved somewhere. So we will make up for that. In 2 weeks, we'll have the wonderful Clinchfield rail fanning, Mr. Ken Borowski, always a wonderful guest.
That's two N scale layouts in a row. So.
Yeah, we need to do. And if you want your layout featured, we don't have to do a layout tour, but just a rail fan and show us around would be great. It takes a couple hours of video. We'll make you look good for 10, 15 minutes. And anything else you want to show, like I said, Zoom meetings are good to show off pictures or your projects. Talk to Randy. And come out to all the things we got going on.
Absolutely.
Come out to Union 32 on Tuesday, and we'll see that. So,
well, and I'm hoping that that everybody shows up tomorrow, because I've made a whole bunch of these styrene or styrofoam bases. So I'd like to make sure everybody goes home with some scenery things that they've made, some cars they've weathered, some decals they've applied, because winter's coming and you're going to have things to do down in the basement. So come learn some new skills. Yeah,
I went out and varnished about 40 box cars today. We got half of them in gloss for decals and half in matte finish for weathering.
Great.
We get these free, so come and experiment on it. You can't wreck them. You can do whatever you want to them. And if you wreck them, Ken will paint over them again. It just, it's like Collin said earlier, you won't be starting from scratch. You'll be starting from experience.
Right. Exactly. Great point. So good stuff.
Some good stuff. All right, everybody. Thank you in chat. Anybody got any more questions that I see? Okay. There's the roof of the depot. Randy's got something there. So otherwise, I think we'll sign off. We got a good hour. We had about 30 people in here, and I'll talk to you dark and early tomorrow, Ken.
Right, and make sure if you've enjoyed it, hit the like. If you didn't enjoy it, send nasty letters to Tom at home. It's just fine.
The superintendent. Wait a minute, that's me. So All right, we appreciate all of you. Tell us more. We'll keep going with this through the winter. And if you have any requests, tell us. We have a lot of things available to us that we can come to you. If you have any topics for our podcast, let us know. If you want to come talk on our podcast, let us know.
Yeah, you know, I saw Mike Penn was here, and Mike Penn did some absolutely phenomenal drawings back when he was in the Twin Cities area. I've got several. Boy, that would be a neat thing to do if we could get all of those drawings together, and so that he could kind of talk us through what he was doing, because he was doing a marvelous job of documenting the railroad scene back when he was here. It was really neat. It's really neat.
That's wonderful. I think I've got two. I think I've got a couple of his that I picked up at conventions. He was always very kind to have those at auctions or prizes. I thought Mike was very good. So,
Absolutely.
and with that, Ken, we'll bid adieu, and we'll see you guys tomorrow.
All right.